and welcome to Ask Jaime, a video series where I answer your most pressing questions about higher ed marketing. Today's question comes from Jonathan, who asks, what are the benefits and the drawbacks of a centralized or decentralized model for higher ed marketing and communications? This is a fantastic question. This is something where I often answer, it depends. It depends on your institution, but I'll just kind of generally talk about what I think the pros are. The first is, in a centralized organization, you can have greater alignment across all of the entities that are communicating to all of your audiences. So this allows you to have a more coherent and cohesive brand story. I also think it's beneficial because it keeps more people in the loop about what's going on, helps them understand the brand on a deeper level when they're connected right into that office. It also allows for you to have greater efficiencies. You're not necessarily spending a bunch of money on a bunch of different agencies or a bunch of different consultants. You're able to kind of centralize some of that funding. You're also able to sort of centralize the strategy. So you might have one office that's buying keywords that another office is also buying, and you end up raising the price because you're bidding against each other. And that comes from not having visibility across the full experience. Some of the downsides to it are if you have a centralized model and you don't have those decentralized communicators still sitting within their college or sitting within their division that they're part of, they can lose some of that connective tissue that they used to have. So you can be in a situation where a dean previously was keeping the communicator really, really in the loop, but now that they don't report directly to that dean, they may not be sharing information as willingly or in as much detail as they did before. I think another downside is it can create a situation where you may find that some of the communicators feel like they are marginalized a little bit because they no longer have that direct connection to the dean or the VP that they used to report to. So I think there's a few downsides that can come. I also don't think a centralized model is for every institution. I think institutions that are best positioned for this are those that have perhaps a smaller number of communicators in the colleges, because now those folks have access to the full resources of the central office that they may not have had when they were communicators in their decentralized spaces. So I really think it's something to evaluate, to have somebody maybe come in and do an organizational assessment, to do an assessment yourself, to decide, is this the right thing for my campus? My next question comes from Kelly, who asks, we really want to do more parent communication, but we are reluctant to ask parents for their contact information. And honestly, that creates a very big challenge. You have to be willing to at least ask. Let the parents opt in. And I see those parents opting in as huge hand raisers. Opting in to receive emails or text messages as a parent does show intent. And that's what we want to have. We want to have these signals of intent. And so if you ask parents to opt in, let's say only 100 parents opt in. That doesn't mean that you're saying, okay, well, we're not going to do anything because it's only 100 people. These are 100 high intent people that are raising their hand and saying, I'm interested enough to give my personal information proactively. So don't rule out even a small number of parents as being part of that outreach group. Another challenge that you might have is parents might not have visibility into how they can opt in. So make sure that you're communicating not just to the student when they join your inquiry stream. You can say, hey, forward this message to your parent to see if they'd be interested. But you should also have that content really easy to find on the website. You should talk about it in some of your materials. Parents are playing such a big role that we cannot just ignore them. And again, as I keep saying, this is high intent behavior. Take advantage of that. Be engaged with those parents. Those are parents that I think are more likely to push their student towards your organization than those that are not raising their hand asking to receive those communications. If you have a question about marketing in higher education, please shoot me an email at jaime@solvehighered.com or shoot me a message through LinkedIn, Jaime Hunt, Jaime. I would love to hear your question and answer in a future edition. Have a great day.